Hey, I'm Cortavius, and today we're going to talk epics. How do you make sure that the investments you're making are paying off through the end game? So I have epics that I still use in my account today, even with all the legendaries I have. So I'm going to bring that to life and show you on this video which ones are worth building. But first, if you want to start a new account, click the link in the description below, and you can actually get Karato, the legendary lockdown nuker, as well as one of the great epics that I'll talk about today, Tagoar, who you can get when you reach level 15 on the account. All you have to do is follow 4 steps. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch Raid and complete the tutorial. And step 4, go to your inbox and claim Karato. It really is a great way to start a new account. It really is great. So, hey, in this, just to make some context here, I have 235 mythicals and legendaries on this account. And you can see, going all the way down toward the bottom, I've still got 60s down here. So there's a lot of champs to choose from. So the epics can get really squeezed out when you've got double Newt Marius and you have Armands and Fabian and you have support champs like Duchess on there. So it takes a lot to still make a roster. So the epics that I'll highlight here are definitely worthwhile investments. So we'll do Bannerlords first. Bannerlords are pretty light for me. Stag Knight's a fantastic champ. I've got him +4 or 5-star ascended, and I've never used him. He's still naked. So great champ to build and use, don't get me wrong, but I just haven't because he came too late to my account. And Ursula definitely helped me beat the faction. She's in a region set. She helped me beat the faction, and I still use her there, and I use her in Cursed City, but she doesn't make any other teams for me. Archmage is used in Cursed City, where he comes up, but that's the only place I use him now. None of these other epics have I built or used. Pretty light faction for me, for sure. Things pick up with high elves for sure. Tyrell is one that I certainly use, but he's only used for me in the faction war and in Cursed City. Same thing with Royal Guards, actually. They're only used in the Cursed City for me. I don't even use them in the faction wars. I did build 2 of them, and they helped me through progression. They were Hydra champs for me, and I'd use them for like spiders, and they'd help beat dungeons, and I had one on my Fire Knight team for a while in normal Fire Knight. So for progression, the Royal Guards are great, but they've been squeezed out of my teams now. There's, with 2 Newts and Marius, max HP champs just don't do as well. So only in Cursed City, where I have to use epics, do they really show up for me. I've never invested in any other epics in this faction. There's some decent ones in here, like Neldor can be used in Fire Knight Hard. Vergus can be used in some content to solo, but I haven't built them. They haven't made my teams. Sacred Order's got a couple good ones for me. Deacon is definitely used for me in Dark Fae and also in the Sacred Order Faction Wars. You can see on the right side when I click on these champs, you can see some of the stats and some of the gear I have them. I'm not going to take the time to go through every champ's gear, masteries, and extensions because this video will take forever. But if there's any builds that you do want to see, just leave a comment below and I can definitely provide information on build. So Deacon is used in Dark Fae and the Faction Wars. He's really helpful in Dark Fae because he can manipulate speed for the team, and he can also put decreased defense down and stop the other team from going, my own team from going. And then Shamael I use in the Faction War and also in Cursed City where he shows up. And I do use him in Arena at times. There's certain comps I'll pull out, and a Shamael with his crazy triple hitter can really take out someone. Mordecai was on my Nether Spider team for a while. He was on Spiders for me for a long time because he's neutral affinity. So he was on a lot of teams, but he's pretty much been crept out of my teams at this point. Godseeker's an interesting one. She's played on my teams at this point. She no longer has a spot, but she's certainly a great champ. I've got her in a kind of a mixed build there. So, and then Cardinal, I rode 2 Cardinals actually, all the way into Gold 1 3v3 arena. That's how I got to Gold 1. I took 2 Cardinal teams in where I would use them to go against speed teams that I knew I couldn't beat the speed team on. So you can see she's in Stone Skin. Back in the day, 786 resistance was really high. Today with empowerment and relics and everything else that champs can get, accuracy is so much more. But those 2 were fantastic with for 3 for me. But really, I am down to Deacon and some limited Shamael rolls in this faction. All right, on to the next one. Barbarians, it's kind of a one-man faction for me for other than Cursed City. So Farrakhan the Fat is really valuable for me. He's on my Bommel one-shot team, so I can go in and take Bommel out in like 20 seconds or whatever it is. And he's on the team that brings buffs for the team and ally attacks. So he's really good in that. And then he's also on the Faction War team, and he's on my Fire Knight Hard 10 team. So that team has to go really fast. I use Padraig and him as my 2 ally attackers, and then a couple Newts and others. So he still makes endgame teams for me. He's really helpful. And then World Painted does come in. I used her to beat Sand Devils in the past. She's still on my team. I guess funny enough, she doesn't even have a full regen set anymore. But I still use her in Curse City, and she still gets me through stages. You're missing 2 pieces of gear. I really should get 1 more piece of regen on her. But World Painted is a very good healer. But those, and then Haikatoon definitely was my, she was my arena booster until I got Morrigan. So, a good champ for that use, but no one else in here did I ever build or use. All right, now, Ogren Tribes is arguably my best faction for epics. So you have Ugo, who is in the running for the best epic in the game, and Ugo is used in my Hydra Nightmare team. So that team can do 500 million damage in Hydra Nightmare, and she's a part of it as an epic. She makes the team. So really great skill set with the ability to do a leech, which can help the team heal. She's got the decreased defense and block buffs on there as well. Heal reduction, pulls those off the champs so that they can be healed, and then also does a partial 1 turn, 1 piece cleanse and a heal. So she's really helpful in that. And she's also on the Faction Wars team, of course, and anywhere I could use her in Curse City, I would. Skull Crusher, I've never actually built, so not really made my teams. Grush is still on my Faction War team. Missing his boots, apparently, but he does have a sunset, still has a stun set, but I really should get some boots on him. And the 2 Man-Eaters are both on my Clan Boss team today. I use a Rab Bat Eater team. There's a video on that on my channel if you want to see that Clan Boss team, but I use the 2 Man-Eaters in there. So they're really just in there to put up the unkillable and then the block debuffs. And with the 2 of them in there, they just get their rotations. But honestly, the Man-Eaters I have are built for damage because they're unkillable. So even with 255 crit damage and 4,000 attack, those guys hit pretty hard. So in Faction Wars or in Curse City, if I can use them, or anywhere where content's restricted to epics, if I can bring a Man-Eater in, mine can do some damage. So I do like the Man-Eaters. So those are the really ones I used. I did use Claude when I beat the faction. He's just kind of been stripped and he was only at 50 at the time. He's a really good speed booster. But that's really a turn meter manipulator. But I guess that's it for that faction. All right, Lizardman. I have Venomage in there. Venomage is a great champ. So she still makes my Nether Spider team along with Geomancer, and they can do some of the fastest runs in the game actually with those 2. So she's really good there. I do bring her out in things where there's waves with epics only, like in Curse City, because she does an AoE poison. So she has an AoE with heal reduction and a chance of placing 2 poisons. So she can work down wave enemies as well in addition to bosses, and then a single target where she can do decreased defense and decreased attack. So very useful epic. And then Ajax has a special place in my heart. I really do love Ajax. So Ajax is still used for me today on Scarab Boss and in regular Doom Tower, and then also MVP in Curse City where you have limited champs to use. And the big thing with it has a 10% chance of placing poisons on the A1. So when getting provoked endlessly in Scarab Boss, just keeps putting poisons up on the Scarab Boss, and the Scarab Boss can kill himself with Ajax in there. So very helpful. And then every time Ajax is hit with the passive, increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the target. So I've seen debuffs, decreased attacks, decreased defenses, poisons on the Scarab Boss with like 90, 150 turns on them because the boss just keeps hitting Ajax and Ajax keeps extending the debuffs. So if you can come in faster than the Scarab Boss and put up like a poison sensitivity from Frozen Banshee, and then have Ajax with the A1, you could actually kill the Scarab Boss without Frozen Banshee ever taking another turn, just because Ajax keeps extending that debuff. And then Frozen Banshee A1s and Ajax A1s, and they just keep the Scarab Boss killed. So that's what I actually used before I got better champs to build Scarab Boss. So it's a really cool strategy. I am building a Basilisk for the Cursed City. Basilisk can do a lot of damage, so I will do it for Cursed City. But that's really it. And then my Broadmaw army's in there, so keep making champ chase points. That's Lisbon. So Skinwalkers is a one-woman, female, animal team for me. So Fane makes my Clan Boss team. She is just in a damage build with 8,600 attack, 300% crit damage, helped by the 6-star Awakened status, and enough accuracy to land her abilities. So pretty good build for an epic in Fane, and she is fantastic in my Clan Boss team. even against negative affinities, she still does enough damage over the course of the 50 turns. But she's bringing decreased defense and weaken, and then also decreased attack and poisons. She really brings a lot of skills. So very helpful in the clan boss. And then probably shows up in Cursed Cities, but I actually don't remember if she does. No one else in this faction do I use. So it's a one mouse faction. Orcs. I still think Seer has to have the crown for the best epic in the game because there's so many people that use her to speedrun locations in the game. So she's on my Dune Tower wave clearing team up until the highest floors where with only having renegades and painkeepers on my team, I can't keep her alive as well. I don't have a Kaimar or Yumiko, but she is a wrecking ball for wave content. She's on my Spider speed team that does Spider's hard 10 in like 9 seconds. And she's on my Dragon's hard 10 team that can do that in like 25 seconds with double Stultus. So she still makes multiple teams of mine just for the ability to clear waves. She's got crazy good abilities for that. It's all based on her karma burn. If you have enough buff on your team and or the enemy, she strips those buffs and just kills everybody. So she does bring an increased crit rate on, which adds buffs to the team. So she brings her own buffs for like the second wave if you don't have a pure reset. So that does come in handy. So, and her A1 can be funny. She can keep hitting extra turns on that, which actually slows down runs if she's got to use the A1. So she's a fantastic champ. So I guess worth showing the build on her because I use her so much. So she has really, it's crit damage for her. If she's using her other abilities, the attack comes in play, but on that karma burn, it's really the buff strips. So 342% crit damage, 227 speed, and with 450 accuracy, she can strip buffs from enemies. So that also adds to the damage that she can do. So pretty good build for a Seer on her. So that's Seer. I have not empowered my Seer, by the way. I do have 3 more Seers down here. I consciously did not empower her because that would add to her HP and defense. And in some of the speed-based content I'm in, I want her to die actually at the boss. So I haven't empowered her, consciously. Duck the Pierced, really good epic as well. He makes my Cursed City teams. That's really it for him. And I used to use Vrask, but I don't use him anymore. So really it's Seer and it's Duck the Pierce that still make teams today. All right, Demon Spawn. So a couple good ones here for me. Allure, she still makes my Dark Fae team, and she's in the faction war. She can be a pain in the faction war if she takes like the unkillable champ in there and just keeps A1ing him and making him never take a turn beyond frustration. So she's dangerous in the faction, but she's so helpful on the boss. But of course, they put a champ with unkillable in the wave before the boss where you could use her. But she basically, her claim to fame really is her A1. 3 times at random and decrease the target's turn meter by 25% on each critical hit. So where you have bosses that you can lower turn meter on, she's fantastic. So as I said, Dark Fae and the Faction War boss, and certain Cursed Cities, I'm sure she shows up. Magnar is a great nuker, and he's hard to kill. He's an HP-based nuker. So, I have him with 99,000 HP and 277 crit damage. So he's really in there. He can hit hard. He certainly is on my Faction War team, and he shows up in Cursed City wherever I can use him. But he doesn't make any other content for me. I used to use Achak, but I don't use him anymore. So that's really it for that faction. Undead Hordes has some good champs for me in there. So Volgoth is a great champ, and he's in an unusual build for me. I've got actually have him in a curing set. I don't know who else uses curing sets, but it's actually a good set for Volgoth. So it adds to the heal that he does, and that's really his sole function, is to help heal the team. So I have him built with 165 speed. He's slow. He does not have a lot of defense. 3,200 is decent, but it's not big. It's basically all HP because I want him to take hits. I want him to take damage because his passive ability is when attacked, he places Leech and then heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. So I don't have him in bolster. I don't have him in a shield set, and I have him slow and with low defense, but high HP because I want him to take damage and he heals everybody else. So I have him last in the turn order usually, so that when he takes the hit at the end, he's actually healing the rest of the team on the same turn. So strategy on where you put him in the team too. So that's Volgoth. And then you'll see I have Husk 1, Husk 2, and Husk 3. I have 3 Husks I've used. I still use all 3 of them in Cursed City, where there's a certain couple stages where you can only use epics, and this is one of the factions. 3 different Husks in there. They actually have the ability to stun, AoE stun, stun on the A2, and it also does a max HP hit. So, and then on the A1, they can provoke. So you got 3 husks in a wave that can all stun, all provoke on the A1. That is great control on enemy waves, and really good Hydra champ then too. So Husk can provoke on the A1. You got to be a little careful because it's only a 40% chance when booked, so it won't be every time, but he does hit 2 times, but he only provokes once. So he only has a 40% chance. So he's got a 40% chance to provoke, and he has force affinity, so sometimes the head of decay is a spirit affinity, which can be a problem for him too. For a budget provoker at Hydra who also does damage, it's like a damage-based control champ, he's really good. So I got 3 of them built, and I still use all 3 of them today. And then Seeker is on my clan boss team, so he's really just in a damage build. 5,200 attack, 307% crit damage, and that's in speed 215. That speed's locked in because of my clan boss team, so I can't change that. So that's really it for that faction. Dark Elhain is a great champion, +1 and 6-starred, but I used her to beat the faction originally, but I haven't used her since. So those are that faction. Let's go to the next one. All right, Dark Elves. So I went through my list and just triple checked, and I don't have anybody on the list. So I have no Dark Elves epics that I use. Madame Saros was definitely a carry for me in early progressing arena, but Stone Skin came out, and Sheep Polymorph came out, and I don't use her anymore. So arguably you could put her in a feral set now and put her back in the game, and she's 6-star ascended +4, but she just doesn't make my teams anymore. And none of these other epics do I use anymore. I think I use Caden to beat the faction because he's a reviver in the faction. That's it. So really none of them. And actually Crimson Helm I used originally on a Sand Devil team, but no longer makes the teams. Nobody in this faction is still on the teams. Next. All right, some really good epics in Knights Rev. Really good. But only one still makes my teams today, other than Cursed City, and that's Skullcrown. Skullcrown is my campaign farmer. She's in my Doom Tower normal wave clearing because she's got the AoE on all her skills. So she does an AoE, which can hit pretty hard. Extra hit if the target has more than 50% HP, and she's got a AoE A2, which is really hard hitting, and she has a chance to place weaken. And if she does get hurt enough, she can put an unkillable on herself to give herself an extra turn. So really good nuker for an epic. So she's on my wave clearing team, and of course she'd make Cursed City if I can use her anywhere. So I have her in Helm Smasher built for damage. I have 7,600 attack, 278 crit damage on her, which is more than plenty to kill the wave. And she was my campaign farmer before I +4'd her. So Skullcrown's really good. Doom Priest is great. Her big claim to fame is basically her passive. Heals allies and removes 1 random debuff at the start of this champion's turn. So she's helpful in certain bosses like Nether Spider or other places where you're going to get debuffed. She can help cleanse the team. Miscreated was on my Spiders team for a while, and Rector Draft was also on the team. And honestly, for the faction, Doom Priest and Rector Draft together are fantastic to help keep the team alive. They definitely carried me through the faction war, along with Miscreated, as long as you turn off his ally protect at the boss. And Whisper is a fantastic epic. I've never used a Whisper just because I didn't get her early when I was building my teams and progressing. And now with 2 Newts and a Marius, she just doesn't make the teams, but she still could. If I ever get the 6th star on her, then I think you can bring her in for some one-shot, Amius type teams, but I'm just not spending that in the soul essence. I'll save that for better, legendary champs. But if it ever pops out, she's a champ that I would probably gear and use then at that point. All right, 3 left. Dwarves, Geomancer, definitely in the top 3 of epics in the game as well. He is on my Bommel one-shot team. He's on my Iron Twins safe team. I've got a speed team I use now, but for Magic Affinity, he comes out. And he's in my Nether Spider team with Metal Mage. So 3 teams making it today. This one's in I built this one for a Wixwell clan boss team. I don't use him anymore, but he was in a damage build. This is the one that I use more often, who has 251 speed and 550 accuracy. So he can land his abilities in Iron Twins before they nerf the boss. And he has the speed to outrun the boss there. So that's the one that I use more often, but I do have a couple of them built that I use. Demitha, I don't use anywhere, and Rearguard does make a Cursed City team with her. Morag's actually one worth calling out, even though I don't have built. I have been building. You can see she's 6-star ascended +3. I will eventually build Morag, and I've got a second one here somewhere that's partially awakened. I will build a couple Morags at some point because there are Cursed City stages where the double Morags can be really helpful. It's later into Centranos, and I just haven't made it there. Shadowkin, I don't have any of them that still make my teams today. Burangary can be useful, and Taragi is a great epic, but I started building him for Cursed City because he can actually be useful in Cursed City. So he will make my teams eventually for Cursed City, but that's the only place. So that's it for that faction. All right, last one, and a few great epics here, actually. Probably 4 of them, maybe 5. Wow. So Dythe is fantastic. You know, he's got a ability to come in and he can put increased attack and increased accuracy on himself. And then he does a AoE, decreased defense, and he hits hard. And he just has turn mechanics that give him an extra turn there, and grants an extra turn if it's placed on all enemies. So he can really get a lot of turns in. He's really good. So I keep stealing gear from him and replacing it, so he's down to 5,700 attack and 262 crit damage and 322 accuracy, but he can really do the job. He is a great epic. I really like him. And then White Dryad Nia was on my Hydra team until they nerfed the ability to taunt loop Hydra strategy, which just, what a stupid change. But anyway, they nerfed that, so she's lost her spot. So she's Cursed City now. Ruella's also a great epic. She can be on Fire Knight teams. She's useful. She just hasn't made teams for me. I was starting to build Kellen the Shrike. I've got a 6-star awaken for him, and he can be used in the Cursed City. So I will end up building him to get that 6-star ascension and put him in a Cursed City at some point. And then Created in the Blue can be used for Fire Knight Hard 10. So another great epic. So it's just some great epics in here. But really Dythe is the only one that still makes my teams today. Well, those are the epics I use on my account. So who did I snub? Well, I can't really call it a snub because I said these are the epics that I use, and that's what the video title is. But I do think people who get to this point and went through this video and saw the epics could be missing epics that are worth building for them. So if you have epics that you've built that are fantastic that I didn't mention that you're thinking got snubbed, then hey, please put those in the comments so that people who are reading this can see the other epics that people got out there. That would be great. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, I truly appreciate it, by the way. But hey, if you made it this far, if you could like and subscribe, it would really make my day because I am trying to build the channel. Thank you.